And good morning, it's Monday. Welcome back to Casual Coffee with Ken. For those of you who are new here, I do this show to share interesting, sometimes inspiring, but generally happy, fun, lighthearted news stories with you in order to counteract the very negative news cycle that we're all subjected to on a day-to-day basis. So thank you for spending time with me. If you're new here and you choose to comment, I can see your comments and I can bring them into the show occasionally. If you do comment, let me know who you are and where you're watching from, because I really like to know where my audience is. So far we've had people from Ireland and Canada, and I think once someone from Italy was watching, so that's really fun for me. I really enjoy getting to know the people who are watching the show. So it's Monday, Monday, March 9th. I imagine everyone's just a little bit more tired today because we all lost an hour of sleep yesterday because for some strange reason we're still doing the dumb daylight saving time thing, which is we need to kill it. We need to get rid of it. It has no real purpose anymore. Let's just pick one and go with it. It's done. It's over. I'm done with it. Definitely feeling better today. If you saw Thursday and Friday's shows, you know that I had a very bad cold. Today, doing a lot better than I have been. Still pretty tired, but overall feeling much better than I have. So thank you for everyone who sent me their well wishes. I appreciate it. I really do. It means a lot. So I hope you guys had good weekends and that you did something fun and interesting and relaxing, something to really help you recharge before you had to wake up today and start the whole thing all over again, because I know how it's tough. And you notice that even on the short holiday weeks, it doesn't get any easier. In fact, the Tuesday, Monday that you have after a 3-day weekend, I don't know about you, but for me, it's almost bad enough that I wish I didn't have the extra day off, because you're catching up with all the dozens of emails that piled up while you were out relaxing, and it's such a crazy time, those Tuesday Mondays, that it almost negates any benefits that you might have had from having the extended weekend. So anyway, I hope everyone's doing well. No special tea of the day. Sometimes if you're new to the show, I'll talk about a particularly interesting tea that Karina and I have purchased from somewhere like Adagio or David's Tea. Today it's just some Bigelow that I got at the grocery store. It's a ginger peach turmeric. Really tasty. It's really different. It's got just a little bit of spice to it, a little bit of bite. It's very, very good though. So if you're into peach tea at all or anything of that nature, I would definitely encourage you to pick some up. It's really, really good. So without further ado, let's go ahead and just jump in today's positive news stories. The first one, I think we can all agree, is just heartwarming. We love stories about animals. I mean, who doesn't? I am particularly partial to stories about cats, since we're cat owners. But this one just really tickled me pink, and it could be filed, I guess, under the heading of cats get into the darndest places. Because they're like, cats are a little bit like octopuses as far as, I mean, you've seen those videos where it shows an octopus just squeezing through impossibly small holes or into impossibly small spaces for its size. It's crazy, right? Well, cats can do something a bit similar to that, and I find it highly amusing. And this one, who knows how he got where he ended up? Take a look. So this is from the Facebook page of the Falmouth Fire Rescue Department. This poor little guy just decided to become a wall cat. Not sure what he thought he was getting up to in this instance, but as you can plainly see here, he got into the wall. Look at him. I like Natalie's comment on here. I've been found. Secret hiding place exposed. Poor little guy. They don't comment anywhere on here as to how this cat got into the walls, and it took them a little while to get him out. They had to actually lure him out a little bit with some food because, yeah, he was kind of scared, but they rescued him without any problems, and he was really none the worse for wear. So I don't know. I thought that would be a fun way to start the Monday off. Just a good heartwarming story about a poor little kitty cat who ended up where he shouldn't have been somehow, and the very nice firefighters who kindly retrieved him. That's got to be a good assignment, right? If you're a firefighter, instead of having to run into a burning building that day to rescue an animal or people, you just get to go into someone's house and that's not burning and rescue a poor little kitty cat that was just a little bit too adventurous for his own good. I like it. I'm happy with it. Okay, so the next story, going to get a little bit more serious here, but still a positive story. People who have to grow up in an abusive environment. I mean, my wife went through it when she was a kid, and there's too many stories like that out there, right? It's widespread. I don't understand people who want to hurt kids at all, but it happens. And so this next story is particularly encouraging that there's a group of people who have reputations for being, in some cases, violent, but they have a reputation that precedes them. And some of them have come together and formed a group to dedicate themselves to helping children who have been abused as they work their way through the court systems. And it's really entertaining. And real quick, I'll say good morning to Sean. Thank you for joining me, as always, my friend. Hope you're doing good today. So without further ado, what exactly am I rambling on about? Well, I'm talking about bikers against child abuse. So these bikers have come together to form their own organization, sometimes known as BACA, and they are all about offering children protection and advocacy, because a child who's being abused is a particularly vulnerable child. And since a lot of abuse occurs in the home by family members who are supposed to be there to protect you in the first place, you can feel like no one's on your side. These bikers, they go through, according to the article on Upworthy here, they go through extensive training and a lot of security and background checks. And they're bikers, they're big, they're burly, they're badass. And so they basically become the abused child's biker family, and they let everybody know that the child is under their care and protection. Their mission statement pretty much says it all. They stand ready to lend support to their wounded friends. They work in conjunction with local and state officials. And while they, quote, do not condone the use of violence or physical force in any manner, if circumstances arise such that we are the only obstacle preventing a child from further abuse, we stand ready to be that obstacle. And Sean says, great organization. Absolutely, Sean. Yeah, so they'll set up an initial ride to welcome a child into the biker family. They offer the kids a vest and a patch. They don't have to accept the vest or patch. There's never any pressure. They take a photo with the kid, and the kids can call them whenever they feel that they need the extra support. They serve as escorts. If the kid feels frightened when they're going anywhere, they show up to court hearings because you can feel fairly intimidated if you're having to go and testify against your abuser. But if you've got some burly bikers there in your corner, literally, you might feel a little less awkward and intimidated about going to court to testify against the person who hurt you. So I love this. Love everything about this. I mean, what's not to like about it? It's yeah. That's code for we'll roll you and then toss you into the nearest dumpster. Yeah, we all know what they're saying. When they say if we're the only obstacle against kids being further harmed, we're going to be that obstacle. Yeah, we know what they're saying. That's great. Everyone takes comfort in the unsaid words of that paragraph. So, love it. I would love to see this become a widespread organization, although they do have international in their name, so seems to have spread pretty far already. Yeah, it's a good thing. I'm all for it. Good morning, Tricia. Thanks for joining. Hope you're having a great Monday morning. I hope everybody who's watching again did something fun and interesting for their weekend to help them recharge before you had to just dive on into Monday. Again, if you're just joining, this is a show where I share positive, fun, interesting, and sometimes inspiring stories to counteract the negative news cycle that we're kind of hit over the head with every single day. Now, it's true, you can go out there and find these stories yourself, absolutely, but it can take some digging, so I'm just trying to take some of the work of that away, take some of the work out of it, and just kind of aggregate and present these to you every weekday morning. So you have a place you can come where they're all here for you, and just hopefully help you start your day off a little better each morning. So the next story that we have, it's a little more on the science side of things, and it's not terribly inspiring, but it is interesting, and it has the potential to help save a lot of lives just because of the nature of what it is. We're all familiar with concrete. It's what our skyscrapers are made out of, what a lot of buildings are made out of, and not a very sexy topic, not even a very interesting topic most of the time, except for the fact that concrete is notoriously fragile when stresses are put on it in a horizontal motion, right? So concrete has a lot of strength from forces that are applied from top down. It compresses and it's very strong in that area. However, if the forces are lateral, it's more prone to fracture and to crumble and just, give way. Not great in earthquakes in that situation. However, recently scientists have been working on improving a formula for what they're calling bendable concrete. And the reason that this particular concrete is better than normal concrete is that it doesn't rely on cement to make it. Now, cement is actually it's been key in the process of making concrete. You had to incorporate cement into it. Number of things wrong with it because, again, it's very weak. Concrete has high compressive strength but low tensile strength. And the process of making concrete is environmentally destructive. So this team at Swinburne University has improved the recipe of bendable concrete so much that they can omit using cement at all in the mixture, and instead they're using industrial waste products such as fly ash, which is the airborne debris given off in coal-fired power stations. So using the fire ash or the fly ash, the composite that's made from that can be cured at room temperature, so it's more environmentally friendly to make than concrete. And it results in 36% less energy being used and emits up to 76% less carbon dioxide as compared to conventional bendable concrete. And it's 400 times more bendable than normal concrete and has similar strength. But when the new material, if it ever does crack, the tiny fibers in the mixture ensure that it doesn't shatter. It'll still hold together, even with multiple tiny fractures throughout the substance. So this is a big deal as far as earthquakes. The construction of any buildings using this particular brand of bendable concrete are going to be much more resilient to earthquakes than buildings made with regular non-bendable concrete. So again, not the sexiest of stories, not even the most inspiring of stories, but definitely good news. Earthquakes are a thing, and whatever we can do to make buildings safer during an earthquake, we should do it. And again, science, love it. Absolutely love it. Okay, sorry. Particularly thirsty this morning. Yeah, so breakthrough in possibly reducing earthquakes or earthquake damage in buildings. I can't reduce earthquakes yet. That would be truly amazing. It's very sexy, raw. Concrete is not that sexy. Thank you for trying to make it so, Sean, but no, not really. So let's see. We talked about the wall cat. We talked about bikers lending their services to abused children, which is awesome. You look like you feel so much better. I do. I really do feel a lot better than I did on Thursday and Friday. I'm finally, I think, on the tail end of this stupid cold, but it's good. Yeah, I feel much better. Thank you. I appreciate that. So yeah, Wallcat, bikers, bendable concrete. Oh yeah, okay. This is going to be fun. So for a while, I was playing with the idea of ditching uh, my smartphone, and I actually did for a while. I was using an older phone that was basically a what they used to call a feature phone, where it just had a physical keyboard so you could text, but that was it. It wasn't what we would consider a smartphone today. I think it was called the Lotus, and it was available on the Sprint network at one time. So I was doing that for a while, but I couldn't stick with it because it was an old school 2G cell phone. So it was using the old 2G networks. And when people would text me, if they tried to put any kind of emojis in the text, the text that I would get on my phone would come through as unable to read because the hardware couldn't interpret what all the emoji code, right? So I was just like, okay, I've got to be able to text with people even if I don't use the rest of the apps on my phone. So I went back to having a smartphone. This lady, she does not like smartphones at all. She hates texting. So she went one step further because her day job is building scientific equipment for space missions. So she decided to build her own cell phone. And she made an aesthetic choice that I thought was really fun. Take a look. She built a smartphone with a rotary dial. She loves technology. She hates smartphones. So she built this. A smartphone with a rotary dial. How cool is that? I mean, seriously, look at that. I love that. And it's still pocketable. You can still use it. She bought the kit. Uh, there's a kit that you can buy as far as the circuit board and all the internals. Uh, she says the battery life is great. It lasts for a solid 24 to maybe 30 hours. 4-inch tall phone, 3 inches wide and 1 inch thick. So, not as thin as some of our modern smartphones, but not entirely unreasonable. So she's made a couple of concessions. She doesn't text, but she realizes that people do text her. Um, and so she incorporated a little e-ink screen like you would see on a Kindle so that she can read incoming texts. But of course, she has no way to text back because, rotary phone. So she loved it. She bought what she calls a cell phone radio development board from Adafruit. It's a strange name. Adafruit hardware company. She designed her own circuitry and then she used a 3D printer to create the case. Now, enough people were so interested in this that she basically has put together the entire kit for you with the exception of the rotary dial. You will have to source your own rotary dial if you want to do this. So, and there's a handful of other parts, but the main board, the 3D printed casing with the threaded inserts and the buttons are all available on her website at skiesedge.us. And she has her website at justine-hopt.com. So yeah, you too, if you are the kind of person who is a DIY person and you want to build your own cell phone, almost from scratch. You can buy most of the kit from her website and then finish the rest of it yourself. I imagine that would get old quick, but it's a novel idea. Yeah, she has two, I guess, compromises that she's built into the phone. She has two speed dial keys. One is for, I believe, her mom, and the other for her husband. So she can just do a one button press call to both of those people. Everyone else, she actually has to dial the Rotary, which is so funny to me. That's great. But she can make and receive calls on it. She has great coverage, I guess. She uses like an AT&T SIM card, I believe, in it. So if you're interested, there you go. And I'll put the links to her website and everything in the description box on YouTube, and in the description area on Facebook as well. So yeah, I thought that was really cool. There was one excuse me, there was one phone I saw a couple of years ago on Kickstarter that was called the Light Phone 2. Really neat concept. Basically, it was just about the size of a credit card. Had buttons on it, and I guess there was a keyboard on there so you could text if you wanted to, but other than that, it was just an e-ink screen, and you could make and receive calls. I think it worked on a 4G network though, so a much better signal in that respect. But yeah, there was a time where I felt like I was spending too much time on my phones, and I almost backed that, but I didn't, because too many Kickstarter projects seem to go and just kind of evaporate into the ether along with all the money that the contributors put in there. So I don't generally back a lot of Kickstarters. So that's it. Yeah, that was it. I think that was a pretty fun assortment of stories today. You know, cute cat, bendable concrete, badass bikers helping child abuse victims, and a really unique smartphone, or cell phone rather. So yeah, I will stop rambling at you now. I really appreciate everyone who joins me in the morning. I appreciate you spending time with me. I love doing this. If you would do me a favor, if you had fun today, after the broadcast ends, this stays up as a video on my Facebook and YouTube channels and on Twitch. And if you wouldn't mind sharing the link to the video with your friends, say, hey, there's this new morning show that devotes itself to making you feel good in the morning and helping you start your day off on a positive note. I'd appreciate that. If you like the show and you want to help grow the show, you can find me over on Patreon at Casual Coffee over there. But again, I just do this because it's a lot of fun, and it's good for my mental health to research positive stories anyway. So thank you, Sean, and thank you, Trisha, and thanks everybody who shares the show. And I'll let you go for now. I will see you all right back here tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Until then, I'm Ken McKim. You take care and be kind to one another.